but the speaker must be qualified too. Of course, some qualification must be there, but if the listener is good, he will take, even if the speaker is not qualified, he will get very inspired. So, on this wonderful occasion, we will speak something about Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Before that, we just sing a little bit, sing Radha Madhava. Jaya Radha, this is one second. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chanabala Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Chanabala Girivadadari Yashodanandana Braja Chanaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Chanaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. So maybe we can move, maybe somebody would just can sit a little bit here because it's so empty here and my focus is more here than here. So maybe everyone can move a little bit there. It's easier for me to speak than to speak in the emptiness. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. So today, of course, auspicious appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the life story of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu itself is very interesting, and we can be very, feel ourselves very, we should be grateful that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so well documented. Yeah, so if there would not be such an extensive documentation, we would not know anything about him, right? Imagine Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have appeared, or like a great personality appears, but there's no documentation. He is maybe relevant, interesting in his time, but then when he leaves, then he will be forgotten. Of course, an influential personality leaves something behind. There is some influence is left behind, and there will be some documentation of his. But a written documentation, like we have with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is very, very good. It's very helpful because it doesn't leave so much room for speculation, for ignorance, so to say. So it's very important that we have, especially in this Kali Yuga, as we know, a written form of documentation to preserve knowledge. And without that, it's very, very difficult. Even though it's said in former ages, people were so intelligent that they were not needing scripture. They did not need a written form of knowledge. Everything was happening in the mind. Amazing, right? It's really amazing. All of us who read or study, you can see we actually need to write things down, even to structure our thought process. It's very helpful to have this, to bring that what is in the mind, what is perceived only with this inner eye, to bring it out and to have a better understanding of it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, very good documented in many biographical texts. Of course, most important for us, especially, is Chaitanya Charitamrita, but as we know, it's not the only text where his life is recorded. And the Chaitanya Charitamrita is also important because it doesn't contain only his life story, but it also contains his philosophy, so that we know what he was really, what did he want to tell us? What is it? What was his teaching? And he was, in that sense, also how to say, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but you can say like a prophet, a philosopher, a theologian. He wanted to leave something behind. And it's interesting, we know that he was not doing it himself. He actually gave it in a spoken word to his qualified disciples, and they were writing it down. So they did this major work. So he founded a tradition. He left behind a tradition of a living spirituality, which is very influential. It's very influential. It was influential at his time, and it's influential today, and it becomes even more influential. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you can, of course, we can have many views on his personality, right? Everyone has kind of his picture, how you envision Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is, maybe also, you have also many views on him. Different aspects of his personality are highlighted, but a couple of them are maybe more striking for you, and maybe they are different. But in general, of course, there's you can say, ontological view on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is his personality? What is his being? Especially what is his metaphysical personality? And that we know he is Krishna himself. So he's Krishna in a special form. He's not, because Krishna has his mood. You can say mood, we call it bhava. They say bhava, certain mood. And Krishna's mood is different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood. From one point of view, different, point of view, maybe not. But of course, Krishna is the playful cowherd boy and all that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has a different mood because, and this is established in Chaitanya Charitamrita right from the beginning, that his mood is Radha's mood. And this is a very important point, that he is in so-called Radha Bhava. It's Krishna, but in the mood, you can say mood is maybe a little esoteric word or abstract word, in his experience, in his inner experience, in his self-perception, you can say. how he perceives himself. He perceives himself, of course, when you look at his life, he was not, oh, I'm Radharani, right? He was Nimai Pandit, and then he became spreading the Sankirtan mission. He became Chaitanya, and then became, when he was initiated as a sannyasi. So he had always also this self-perception, self-identification, according to, you can say, the biography. But the mood which came about was Radha Bhava also in that sense. Of course, in the esoteric situation, sometimes Mahaprabhu was in a very, very esoteric situation when he really identified himself as Radharani. That was there too. And this came actually out more and more throughout his life, especially towards the end. Then his so to say, historical, you can say historical self-perception blurred with his really innermost self-perception. And this is interesting because Chaitanya Charitamrita focuses on that a lot. Kind of in contrast towards Chaitanya Bhagavat. Yeah, the Chaitanya Bhagavat, another biography, which is very important, everyone should know, which is older, it was written before Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita actually is the last biography. So it is the last biography. It was kind of, it sealed the whole, historical and spiritual and philosophical evaluation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his disciples. So you have different biographies, and Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is called Chaitanya Mangala, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. In Chaitanya Charitamrita is not called Chaitanya Bhagavat. It's called Chaitanya Mangala. Who has read Chaitanya Charitamrita knows that, right? It's always referred to Chaitanya Mangala. And then Prabhupada always says formally, right? And Chaitanya Bhagavat. So you have to read carefully, but actually the text itself, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, calls Chaitanya Bhagavat, what we call now this Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mangala. And the author is Vrindavan Das Thakur. And he always refers to him as like the original, the best biographer of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He always gives lots of respect, so much so that he says, I don't want to repeat what he already wrote. What was already written by him, I don't want to repeat that. I don't want to meddle with this. I don't want to mix with this. You know, I have great respect for that. It's like when a painter paints something and you don't go and you say, I can do it a bit better and paint over it or something, right? You respect that. No, you cannot touch that. And he said, but I just want to add what he was not writing, especially the later pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He focuses more on that. And more or less, when you read Chaitanya Bhagavat, the majority of the description is what was happening in Navadvip. This is like and also childhood pastimes, which you don't have much in Chaitanya Charitamrita, of course, because these are like, you can almost say there are two parts of the life of Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Bhagavat, the first, or like the beginning time, more or less until sannyas. Where he takes sannyas, it kind of ends. And then some little bit when he leaves Mayapur, Navadvip and all that. And Chaitanya Charitamrita writes way more about what happened after he took sannyas, as a like divider of his life. And also interesting, the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat, he is from Navadvip area. He is the son of, what was her name? She was the niece of Srivas Thakur. Malini or Nalini? No, not Malini. Huh? Malini, yeah, yes. He was the son of her, so he was from the area. He was more connected with Navadvip, with the pastimes, and he could write more about that. Whereas Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami actually never met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah, so he comes from also from Bengal, but different area. And why was he writing Chaitanya Charitamrita when he has never met Mahaprabhu? How did he know so many details? Yeah, and he writes about it. Yeah, you have also his explanation how he comes to write this wonderful, important book, Chaitanya Charitamrita, because he had a dream. Once he had a dream, and in this dream, Balaram appeared. Nityananda Balaram appeared in the dream and told him, go to Vrindavan. He sent him off to Vrindavan. And before that, there was also some quarrel between him and his brother. And it's another story, but his brother, he had not so much respect for Nityananda. And Mahaprabhu always makes the point, if you want to respect me, you have to respect Nityananda equally. You cannot, there's no division between us. We are like one. You have to respect both of us. Anyway, Krishnadas Kaviraj has this dream, and next morning he leaves home and he goes to Vrindavan, and he says, actually, I was already quite old, especially when I was writing then Chaitanya Charitamrita. So his name is Krishnadas, quite kind of a, how to say, general name, Krishnadas, so many Krishnadasas there. But he is Krishnadas Kaviraj, because he was very skilled writer. He was a very, very skilled writer, so much so that when he came to Vrindavan, and he was in the association of the Goswamis, he was in the association of the most important disciples, followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he documents also the life of the 6 Goswamis. You have of all of them, some are more, some are less documented, something. And he was in their association. They gave him actually the instruction, you write the later pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You are so qualified, you're such a good writer. And he is, and he wrote in Bengali, yeah. And he wrote also another book. He wrote a couple of books, but most important is Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Govinda Lilamrita. And Govinda Lilamrita is in Sanskrit. It's in Sanskrit. And you can see also that he's very, very skilled in writing Sanskrit. Extremely skilled, very poetic text about Krishna, actually. So he was living there in the association, and he always ends the chapters giving respect to Rupa Raghunath. Rupa Raghunath for him like his gurus. Rupa Goswami, of course, because he's the leader of the Goswamis themselves, and Raghunath because he had given him all the details of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life. And he says, Raghunath Das Goswami, he's such an important devotee. He knew Mahaprabhu himself. Of course, all the Goswamis had personal contact with Mahaprabhu. So he has these eyewitnesses. Yeah? He has never seen Mahaprabhu. He was not there. But he has all these eyewitnesses. And I can just imagine, he was interviewing them. Okay, you say I should write about Mahaprabhu, but I have no clue. How should I know? So you have to tell me. And they told him, especially Raghunath Das Goswami. Because Raghunath Das Goswami, he was, it said, the personal assistant of Swarup Damodar. And Swarup Damodar was the secretary of Mahaprabhu. It said Swarup Damodar was one of the closest, maybe even the closest associate of Mahaprabhu. Even though we don't hear his name so often. And there's not much about him in the Chaitanya Charitamrita itself, actually. He's kind of a bit mysterious. He knew Mahaprabhu already from Navadvip. They were friends there. But then he went when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he went to Varanasi, and he took sannyas there. So he followed Mahaprabhu in taking sannyas. And he studied also many, many scriptures, many philosophies, similarly to Jiva Goswami. And then he met Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, and he was always with Mahaprabhu. And he said he was his personal secretary. Whatever that means, right? Secretary, you imagine a person sitting behind the desk and, taking orders and doing... I don't know in which way he was his secretary, but more or less he was like his right-hand man. So much so that he managed also where will he take prasadam. Because and there's another point I wanted to focus on, is the influence, the historical relevance and influence of Mahaprabhu is very interesting, right? He was such an influential person. When he was in anywhere wherever he went, he was recognized by people, and they respected him, and they worshipped him, and all that. And one cultural aspect is also that they wanted him to eat at their homes. And there were so many invitations, and so this was also managed by him. Who will have the honor that Mahaprabhu eats in your house? And one important thing, because Mahaprabhu was he relied in one sense also on his disciples or his followers to spiritually entertain him. Spiritually entertain him. meaning they read certain passages from scriptures or they sang for him to help him in his mood, in his bhava, to experience ecstasy, to hear about Krishna. And not everyone can do that. Yeah? Who can help Chaitanya Mahaprabhu become ecstatic, right? To help and to know what he wants to hear and all that, and be able to do it in a certain way that he's pleased. So, and sometimes people came and said, oh, I want to read something to Mahaprabhu. Sometimes they had like their own scriptures or something, some poetry, and that was okay. That was okay. They could do that. But Swarup Damodar was checking first. Okay, show me. What is it? What do you want to show him? Right? So in that sense, also secretary to check. And often he said, no, this is not proper. This is not standard. This is, maybe there's some philosophical deviation or the mood is not right or something. And sometimes he was rejecting them. Yeah. Most famous example is Vallabhacharya. But it's another point. So, and when Raghunath Das Goswami came to Puri, and his whole story and life and his personality is most amazing, of course, too. But he was given as the assistant to Swarup Damodar. Yeah? He was so beloved by Mahaprabhu that he said, you serve Swarup Damodar, you'll never leave his side, and you help him. And it said there's a mysterious, secret text, which is called the biography or the diary of Swarup Damodar. There was a diary, meaning he wrote a diary on Mahaprabhu, what he was doing. And Raghunath Das Goswami knew that. But some or other say mysterious because we don't have that anymore. It's not there. Very, very unfortunate. That would be very wonderful. But Raghunath Das Goswami knew this diary inside out. And this is why he was the primary source for Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami to write the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah. So he's the prime source. Yeah. So he told all that to Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, and he could write this big book. Yeah, Chaitanya Charitamrita is quite a big text. And so the later pastimes are focused on. And today in the morning, Govinda talked about the travels of Mahaprabhu, a bit, a South Indian tour, and we saw that this was happening between 1510 and 1512. Right? These were the years when Mahaprabhu was traveling through South India. And 6 years from 1510 to 1516 are, in general, the travels of Mahaprabhu. So South India, North India. And this is the Madhya Lila. And after that, you have Antya Lila, which is when Mahaprabhu comes back to Jagannath Puri and never leaves Puri again. He's never leaving then. The last years, he stays only Puri. 18 years in Jagannath Puri without leaving anymore. Just stays there. But 6 years, there were his travels going on. And the first, from 1510 to 1512, was the South Indian tour, where he went all the way down to the last tip of India from Puri. And and 1510 is also interesting, very important date, because this is when he took sannyas. In 1510, he took sannyas. He was 24 years old, right? 1486, he appeared, and 1510, he took sannyas. He left Navadvip. And sannyas means also to travel, to preach. So he fulfilled that. So 1510 to 1512, South Indian tour, and then he comes back to Puri, stays in Puri for the Ratha Yatra, and then he attempts finally to go to Vrindavan. That's what he always wanted to do, right? You remember when he took sannyas, he said, now I go to Vrindavan. Now I'm free. I can go to Vrindavan. But he could not do it because his mother asked him, please don't do it, because it's too far away. Anyway, I'm losing you now. She was very, very sad. So please go to Jagannath Puri. Go actually in the opposite direction, more or less. Not completely, but kind of opposite direction. Because Puri is a place where we will hear news from you. And that's also interesting. Why? Why was she saying Puri? What's the difference? What makes the difference if he goes to Vrindavan or Puri? But he's gone. Like this, both is far away from Navadvip. He is gone. Because Vrindavan at that time was not developed. It was just some villages, a couple of villages. There was no Radhakund. There were no temples. There was no Vrindavan town as we know it now. Everything what is in Vrindavan now got developed by the Goswamis. They built that. Right? Radhakund was found by Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Without him, there would be no Radhakund. He found the Radhakund. And his disciples then built the Radhakund. Raghunath Das Goswami had some donor, had lots of money, and I think it was Raghunath Das, right? And he told him, yeah, give some money, and we built Radhakund, making all this, the structure around Radhakund, Shyamakund. So that wasn't there. There were no temples. There was nothing. And that it was not common for people, devotees from Navadvip to go to Vrindavan. That was not so common. But it was very, very common to go to Puri because Ratha Yatra. And Puri was, since thousands of years, and also at that time, a very important spiritual place, holy place, a pilgrimage place. And there was lots of exchange going on just because of that devotees were going back and forth. And so Madhashachi said, okay, go there, which is actually not different from Vrindavan. Also the point, that Puri is not different from Vrindavan. Krishna is there too. It's a Krishna place, Krishna Bhakti place. And so she said, when you are there, I will at least hear news from you, because always there's exchange and they can tell me something about you. And Mahaprabhu, he listened to her. He fulfilled her desire. So that was in 1510 when he made this travel to Puri. And this is where Madhya Lila starts. And of course it's very humorous because before the travel starts, Mahaprabhu wants to go to Vrindavan, and there was a conspiracy, right? Everyone knows there was a conspiracy. Because they knew that Shachimata doesn't want that, and actually all the devotees felt like that. Because for the devotees it was similar as when Krishna left Vrindavan. When Krishna left Vrindavan, it was very, very terrible, right? Imagine you have someone you really love, and this person, your son or daughter or husband or wife or your father or mother, someone who you really love. Some of us have a father, mother, and they are there. Love, I don't know if love, or am I? Yeah, but in general, we should love our family members. There should be some, connection there. And suddenly they go away. I say, okay, I will go, and maybe you will never see me again. That's very sad. Often for the mothers, when the son is going far away somewhere, to the military or something, I don't know, or goes into war or something. That's terrible, or? So someone leaves you whom you love and what should not be separated. So that was, and you cannot compare your love to any person in the material world to the love the inhabitants of Vrindavan felt for Krishna. Cannot even imagine how strong this love is and how terrible it is for them when they are not together with Krishna. And this is why this rasa, is so much celebrated, which is called the Vipra Lamba rasa, this rasa, the experience of the separation. Right? So when Mahaprabhu left, it was very, very sad. It was a very idyllic situation in Mayapur, in Navadvip, especially after he came back from Gaya, because there he got initiated by his guru, Ishvara Puri. Because Mahaprabhu went to Gaya because his father left, which was also very sad actually. Jagannath Mishra, when he left, it was also very, very sad. So he comes back as a changed person. Mahaprabhu went to Gaya as Nimai Pandit, but comes back as a great ecstatic devotee. And the change was so drastic that all of Navadvip, they couldn't handle it. He's like a different person, and he was too much. He was too ecstatic. He was too ecstatic and also too internally moved by a separation from Krishna. He fell already into this mood of separation. And it was so intense that Madhashachi she was not, oh, my son became now a great devotee and it's so great and wonderful. She was worried and she thought he's sick. And because he was so, oh, Krishna, Krishna, he was like otherworldly. Before he was like Nimai Pandit, he was like a intellectual, strong, proud person, feared in all Navadvip because of his learning. He had their own school, and if he challenged always other teachers, who is the better philosopher and all that. He was quite, some person in Navadvip. And suddenly comes back as this very, very emotional person. Yeah, you can say emotional. He was completely emotional. He was always sad. He was always chanting Hare Krishna, but in great ecstasy and sadness. And his mother was so worried that she asked, I think it was also Srivas Thakur, oh, I think he is sick, or what can we do? And then he came, you can correct me, but I think it was Srivas Thakur came, and he looked at him and he watched him and he said, oh, this is the best disease you can get. He has pure love of God. He has pure love of God. And, yeah, so Srivas Thakur, he has pure love of God. Yeah, I also want to be sick like him. I also want to have that. But anyway, he comes back as a complete different person, and then all the devotees, which were led at that time, the leader of the devotees in Mayapur at that time was Advaita Acharya. He was like the Acharya, and many great devotees were around him. And they were so happy because somehow or other they always had this suspicion there's something going on with this Nima, and actually he should be a devotee. It would be so nice if he would be a devotee, but he was not a devotee. He was even ridiculing the Vaishnavas, the devotees. Yeah, he was a teacher, a pandit, a scholar, and suddenly comes back being a devotee, and he merges into the association of this in this Sangha of Advaita Acharya, and they were so happy. And they were then always together and always talking about Krishna, always chanting Hare Krishna, making most ecstatic kirtans during the whole night, and they were so happy together chanting Hare Krishna. Eternal associates. How long has he been in Gaya? I don't know, not long, just a visit, and he made the ceremony and he went back. I don't know how long it was. Couple of days. I don't know. I don't think there's an exact timing in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can look it up. But it was short visit. Yeah. So, but then it was like this idyllic, perfect, harmonic situation of these devotees together in Navadvip, doing kirtan, hearing about Krishna, and these are devotees who really relish the holy name, who relish Krishna Katha, who have wonderful qualities, who relish their association. They were like in perfect situation together with Mahaprabhu. And he was then already the center. He was then the center. He was the focus. He was the Mahaprabhu. He was the great master. And of course, for them, it came quite as a shock when he left this wonderful situation. Right? He had his wonderful mother. He had a wonderful wife, Vishnupriya. He had all his friends. Many of his school friends who were also devotees were together. They had kirtan all the time and wonderful prasadam. And like perfect. Why would you leave that? Why should you leave that? So it came as a big shock when he took sannyas, because sannyas means, in traditional society, means social death. Meaning, my dear friends, my dear wife, my dear mother, I have to go. And normally you take sannyas at the end of life, when everything is done, when everyone is happy when you leave. Finally, this old dude, good that he goes. Geh, aber geh mit Gott und weit weg. Sometimes might be like that, yeah? So normally sannyas is for the old people, actually. It's for of course, there are great exceptions, but in general it means after grihastha, when children are grown up and all that. But he was not doing that. He was 24 years old. He was young, had this wonderful association, and takes sannyas. So the sannyas, and this is explained in detail in Chaitanya Bhagavat. It focuses on that. And then he goes to Gaya, to Katha. The place is called Katha, across the Ganga from Mayapur. And there he gets his sannyas initiation by a great sannyasi what's his name? Keshav Bharati, I think. Huh? Keshav Bharati, who was a sannyasi in the monistic tradition, a Mayavadi, so to say. Yeah. So this is another chapter. Why this and that? So anyway, he gets initiated into this tradition. It's even said that somehow or other he had some discussion with this. He was a great person, right? Which mantra, and Mahaprabhu kind of told him the mantra, and then he gave him the mantra. So it said actually he initiated the guru who initiated him with the, I think, Hare Krishna mantra. So like some trick. But anyway, he gets initiated, and one part of this whole ceremony, this change, which is drastic, very drastic and very beautifully and also sadly explained, is when his hairs get cut. Like Madhu is also our barber here. Whoever likes to have good shave, he shaves you up with a nice blade. Yeah. And Madhu is very happy, and he can do that. But this barber was not happy. When he saw Mahaprabhu's beauty, because he said he was very, very beautiful, had long hair, right? He had long hair. Actually, my spiritual master, when he was initiated in 1969, way before many of us were born, right? 1969, my spiritual master was initiated by Srila Prabhupada, and he had long hair. He was still more or less coming right now out from the counterculture hippie scene from Germany, Hamburg. He was in Hamburg. He had long hair. And Prabhupada initiated him with long hair. He did not have to shave up. It was 1969. It was still quite, beginning times of ISKCON. But then there was a meeting afterwards, and there was discussion about shaving, not shaving, and Prabhupada and my guru asked him, okay, shall I shave now and not? And Prabhupada said to him, either you shave or you always look like this. And he showed to a painting of Mahaprabhu with long hair. Or always like this. Right? So either you shave or you leave it always like this. No? So he thought, okay, better. And then he was shaving up. Anyway, so Mahaprabhu had long, beautiful hair. Very handsome, tall. There was always discussion, how tall was Mahaprabhu? There's a Parimandala, what is it? Parimandala Nyakrodara or something. Yeah, I forgot. But there is actually a measurement given in Chaitanya Charitamrita about the cupids of a Mahapurusha. Cupids, a measuring unit, and that he has the same height as the same width or something like this. And you can calculate according to this cupid, which is an ancient measuring unit, you come to 1.85 meters of his size in Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you translate the cupid with. And some others say Mahaprabhu was as tall as the deities in Mayapur temple. Yeah, there are actually many who say this deities in Mayapur temple is life size, who are 2.30 meters or something. I think no human being is that tall, Maybe there's sometimes there's someone who's 240 or something, but it's so rare. And Mahaprabhu was so big. I don't know. I don't. So, but he was tall. It's that tall. He was way over average, because in general Bengalis are not so tall, right? He's not so tall. So he was tall, and he was quite bright. How to say? Yeah, but very bright. Yeah, and beautiful, very beautiful. So when this barber saw Mahaprabhu, he said, he's perfect. He looks perfect. He's so beautiful. And I should now kind of destroy this beauty. And shaving his head, shaving his hair, he couldn't do it. But he had to. And it was a terrible scene. There's actually a painting when you go online and put in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sannyas ceremony or something. There's like a painting of this scene. And you see Mahaprabhu very, aristocratic sitting there, and the barber about to shave, and the devotees are all crying, and some are lying unconscious on the floor. It's like so terrible. No. And I was like, oh. It was a terrible scene for them. No, don't do it. Yeah. It's a nice painting. Huh? So, and then the barber did it, shaved him, and he said then he never shaved again. He was so traumatized. He said, I can never do that again. You know, this was so terrible for him. But Mahaprabhu was very happy. He felt very, very happy. Yes, freedom. Yeah, freedom. The mission. And why was he doing it? Yeah, it's the mission. Actually, it said once, because he was such a pure devotee then, you know, we have to understand he was the Bhakta Rupa. Form is, of course, Krishna is Bhakta Rupa form. And once he was chanting, Gopi, Gopi, Gopis, that he chanted the names of the gopis and chanted Gopi, Gopi, and he was a school teacher. And some of his disciples, they saw that, heard that, and they criticized him. And he chanted actually Gopi, Gopi, Gopi in great ecstasy. He was so happy to remember the gopis and Radharani and their love for Krishna and to be absorbed in Krishna Leela. And they heard that and they said, why are you chanting Gopi, Gopi? What's that? Where is this written? What's mantras? We should chant Hare Krishna or something like this, Krishna's name. Not Gopi, what's that? And Mahaprabhu became angry and he jumped up, he took a stick and he wanted to beat them. And he ran after them, right? He ran after them and they ran far away. And then they had some kind of meeting. Said, oh, what's happening with this Nimai Pandit? Now, what does he think he is? We are Brahmanas. We are coming from Brahmana families, and he's just our teacher. He cannot behave like that. And they started criticizing him. And it said this was the indicator for him to take sannyas. Because it, nobody respects me. I need to be respected, also from a social point of view, because I have to share something so valuable with everyone, and I need this via media of the respect that people listen to me. And so he said, I have to take sannyas. Now it's the time for spreading the Sankirtan mission. So I have to take sannyas, because sannyas was highly respected at the time, and especially monistic sannyasis, Shankara's line, Mayavadi sannyasis. They were very, very respected. Just being a sannyasi was so respected, people bowed down to you, invited to your home, gave you everything you need, listened to you. Just being a sannyasi, very, very helpful for preaching. Imagine you go on Sankirtan and just being in saffron, people, oh, yes, yes, of course. How much? It would be very helpful. Very helpful, great tool. Then in India, sometimes it's like this, right? So the sannyasi goes around and yes, Swami, yes, of course, whatever you want, yeah, of course. It's very helpful for preaching, right? So Mahaprabhu did that. He took sannyas for this reason. Even if it meant I have to sacrifice this perfect, wonderful situation with my devotees here. I have to sacrifice this for a higher purpose. And Prabhupada very often spoke about that. Devotees in ISKCON should be ready to sacrifice their well-being for this higher purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness. That we follow in these footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Prabhupada did himself. So Mahaprabhu goes then, he took sannyas now, he has the danda, he's shaved, he is happy. And the first thing he wants to do, Vrindavan. Now I'm free, I want to go to Vrindavan, I want to chant the holy name, I want to absorb myself and then share everything what I will experience. But Vrindavan has to be visited, I have to go to Vrindavan. And so he starts his travels together with, at least Nityananda was there, and some other devotees. But Nityananda, he knew the heart of the devotees. They didn't want to be separate from him. They want to see him at least a last time, especially Shachimata. And Mahaprabhu goes through the country, right? He runs around and he's so ecstatic, just chants Hare Krishna, and he's so happy going to Vrindavan, and Nityananda is there. Nityananda had this conspiracy, this trick, how to say, he wanted to trick Mahaprabhu. So he led Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu was not aware, do we go left or right, this and that. You know, Nityananda was his like Navi. It was his navigational system, you know. And yeah, bring me to Vrindavan. Yes, Nityananda said, yes, of course. I will bring you to Vrindavan, of course, whatever you need, like. Trust me. Trust me, I bring you to Vrindavan. The fastest way. So he was leading Mahaprabhu, and then he was somehow or other communicating with some cowherd boys that when Mahaprabhu comes along here and asks you, where's the way to Vrindavan, you show him this way to the Ganga. And somehow it happened, and then Mahaprabhu came to the Ganga, and Mahaprabhu saw the Ganga. He said, the Yamuna! I'm in Vrindavan. He was so captivated, right? So otherworldly, right? And he ran and jumped into the Yamuna. He thought, Yamuna, I'm in the Yamuna, I'm in Vrindavan. Finally, he was so much absorbed in this remembrance of Krishna. And he was splashing around in the water. I'm in Vrindavan, so great. And then suddenly he sees a boat coming. And it comes closer, and he looks, and it's Advaitacharya in the boat. And he said, Advaitacharya, what are you doing in Vrindavan? Why are you in Vrindavan? He was a little bit bewildered. And what did Advaitacharya say? His famous words? Huh? Yeah, wherever you are in Vrindavan. Wherever you are, there's Vrindavan. Wherever you are, there's Vrindavan. And actually, it was true because it said the Ganga, as we know, the Ganga consists also of the Yamuna. After Prayagraj, as it's known today, where the Ganga and the Yamuna flow into each other. Actually, in Navadvip, this is also Yamuna in this area. And Advaitacharya said, actually, they flow together, and you are actually bathing on the side of the Yamuna. Because it's one side is Ganga and one side is Yamuna. So actually, you're bathing. But Mahaprabhu then understood, Nityananda, you tricked me. I'm not in Vrindavan. Where have you led me? And Advaitacharya called him. And it's okay. It's perfectly all right. I have some new clothes for you. You're wet now. Come into the boat. We're not far away from Shantipur. I don't know if Shantipur is actually directly on the bank of the Ganges. But anyway. And then they went to his house. And it's a whole pastime, of course. There he meets all the devotees again. All the devotees are waiting for him. It's like Überraschungsparty. Yeah, and his mother's there. They have a huge feast, and it's all very nice. And this is where Shachimata then says, please go to Puri. And then Mahaprabhu starts from there to Puri together with Nityananda. I always forget who was there. Nityananda was there. Mukunda was there. Damodar Pandit was there. Jagadananda. Yeah, this was Jagadananda, Damodar, Mukunda, Nityananda. These are the four devotees who traveled with Mahaprabhu from Navadvip to Jagannath Puri. It's a long way. And they visit famous temples, especially Remuna. In the end, they come to Remuna. And yeah, I should tell the whole story there. But anyway, they come to Remuna. And Remuna, there is a deity of Kshirachora Gopinath, a Gopinath deity. And then the story is told about this deity, what's the relevance, and especially who is important, Madhavendra Puri. Yeah, the whole story of Madhavendra Puri is told, and they sit there and they eat this famous condensed milk preparation, and Nityananda actually tells Mahaprabhu this story. Anyway, so many details in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anyway, then in the end, that's what I wanted to tell, the Danda. And then they are almost in Puri. And Mahaprabhu wants to visit a temple close by. I forgot what temple was it, a Shiva temple or Ganesh temple or Krishna, I don't know. He said, please wait, there's some temple. I want to go there before we enter Jagannath Puri. And Nityananda, here's my danda. Keep the danda nicely. I just go there, take darshan, I come back. And Mahaprabhu goes off, and there are these four devotees, Damodar, Mukunda, Jagadananda, and Nityananda. I don't want to explain who is who, but you should know a bit about them, actually. So Nityananda is now the danda, Ekadanda. Ekadanda is danda with one stick. And Mahaprabhu told him, please keep this danda very carefully, because it's a danda. It's like a sacred symbol of a sannyasi. He took sannyas right now. He needs the danda for preaching. And it's sacred. It's very important. And Nityananda keeps the danda and breaks it into the three pieces and throws them into the river. Why is he doing that? So Mahaprabhu comes back. Okay, fine, everything done. Let's go now to Puri. We're almost there. Nityananda, where's my danda? Give me my danda. And Nityananda says, yeah, Nityananda, give me my danda. And Nityananda says, which danda? And Mahaprabhu says, what, which danda? My danda, I gave you my danda. I said, I have no. Oh, the danda, your stick. Yeah, it's a stick. When we came to this place, you were chanting and dancing and running around with your danda, and you were so ecstatic, you fell unconscious, you fell, and the danda broke, and we threw it away. But you forgot because you were so ecstatic. And Mahaprabhu was not buying it. He was not. He said, you are so unreliable. I cannot go anywhere with you. Nityananda, actually he talked to all of them, but he meant Nityananda, right? But he said, all of you, I cannot go anywhere with you. I have a mission, I have something to do. You lead me to the wrong place. I go to Vrindavan, you lead me to another place. You break my danda. You always make some nonsense. I don't want to go with you anymore. I go alone to Puri now. So you go first, go to Puri, and I go alone after you. I don't want to be with you now. You always disturb me. And then they say, okay, we understand. Nityananda, we understand. But let's make it at least like this. You go first, and we follow you. Because it's true, sometimes Mahaprabhu falls unconscious. He just walks through this, Hare Krishna, and yes, this is one of the ecstatic symptoms. Yeah, when you're advanced devotee, you chant Hare Krishna, you fall unconscious. Normal. Right? This is what happens. Cry in ecstasy, your hair standing, and your voice is not coming out. Hare Krishna, you fall unconscious, you dream about Krishna, you enter Goloka Vrindavan, you pluck some flowers together with the gopis and bring it to Rupa Manjari and all that. What devotees do? Normal. Yeah? So, Mahaprabhu, as great devotee, he was on this platform, of course. So, that please, at least let us follow you, and we will not bother you, and this is, and here, okay, let's do like this. So Mahaprabhu went alone, and then it's said that he ran into the temple. When he came to Puri, he ran into the temple, because finally he will see Jagannath. So we learn this attraction from these devotees, actually. They are really, really attracted towards Krishna. Like, sometimes we enter the temple and we see Nrsimhadev. Oh, Nrsimhadev, nice, and we go. But how strong is our fire of eagerness to see the Lord? Really not so strong, right? But Mahaprabhu shows how you should feel, how we should feel. And we cannot imitate that. It's not something to force. This shall come in time when we are serious about our sadhana. Yeah, but he ran like he was like, oh, finally Jagannath. And he runs into the temple. And he sees Jagannath and he sees him. He's so ecstatic and he falls unconscious. And he falls unconscious. Oh, Jagannath. He falls unconscious. And he's lying there on the floor in the temple room of Jagannath and Baladev and Subhadra. And there are some guards, like temple guards, who take care that everything works out fine. And they see him and they say, oh, what's this nonsense? And they want to beat him and throw him out of the temple, something. They want to go right there and throw him out. And fortunately, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was like the head of the temple manager, very high personality, also a very great scholar. His name is actually Vasudev Sarvabhauma. Bhattacharya, the title Bhattacharya means like one of the greatest scholars. He was like, he grew up also in Navadvip area, actually. His brother was also a Sanskrit teacher, I forgot his name. Sanskrit teacher of some other devotees, forgot. So, but interesting is he studied Nyaya, not Nyaya, but Navanyaya. Nyaya means logic, right? You have the Shadarshanas, 6 philosophical systems based on Vedic scriptures. And one of them is Nyaya, logic. And there was a new, Nava means new logic school, a new philosophy of logic, and he was studying that. I forgot where it was, in which place. But it said that you could not take any scriptures out of this university where we're studying that, because they wanted to keep the philosophy there, so to say. Yeah? This should be only the center where you can study Navanyaya. So he went back to Navadvip, opened his own school, and he remembered everything. He did not need the books. He remembered everything, and he wrote down everything, and he started teaching Navanyaya and made it even better. And it was so terrible that he was threatened. They wanted to kill him. You stole our knowledge. And he said this was the reason why he went to Puri. He took shelter in Puri under the patronage of the king, because he was already in the court of the father of Prataparudra. Prataparudra is the king of Puri. Not just Puri, actually the whole kingdom. And his father and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was already working for him, so to say, was the court scholar. He was a very powerful person. So when Mahaprabhu came to the temple, he was already quite old. Sarvabhauma was quite old. And he saw that these guards want to kick out Mahaprabhu, and he intervenes and said, stop, bring him to my house. Who of you was already in Puri? Someone of you visited Jagannath Puri? Not some devotees. Yeah. When I was there first time, the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was really run down. It was like, how to say, nobody was taking care of that. But when I was last time there in 2020, they renovated the place. I was amazed. They renovated and just painted. The walls are painted with all the pastimes of Mahaprabhu and beautiful, colorful paintings. There are pujas going on, and there are, I think, was the shoes of Mahaprabhu were there or something in the vitrine, and all that. Very, very nice place. So yeah, they brought Mahaprabhu there. Mahaprabhu was unconscious, and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was holding some cotton to his nose, so it was still moving slightly, so he could see he's not dead or something. He's in deep samadhi, actually in deep samadhi. In deepest samadhi through love of Krishna. And then his devotees came. I cut it short because time is already up, but there's so much to say. But then his devotees came. They got the hint, okay, he's there. And they saw him unconscious. And they knew immediately what to do, how to bring him back. How to bring him back. What were they doing? Yeah, they just chant Hare Krishna. The universal recipe. Chant Hare Krishna, and he woke up. And either in that situation or another time when they woke him up, when he cursed them. Why are you waking me up? I was in Vrindavan, Krishna Leela, all that, plucking flowers. Why are you disturbing me? Why are you waking me up? Yeah, so Mahaprabhu comes back. And then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has this... Anyway, I have to cut it short. He wants to reform Mahaprabhu. He wants to help Mahaprabhu because he sees Mahaprabhu is such an... He is a sannyasi, but he will not be able to stay a sannyasi. He's too young, and he's too beautiful. And he will have all the ladies on him. For sure, always some ladies will want to marry him and all that. And he is not in the best sannyas tradition. Because there are different traditions of Shankaracharya, and they are recognized by the name, by the different names. They have some name which shows in which line of Shankaracharya you are. And he was in the highest, in Saraswat. He was a Saraswata Brahmana. So was it Saraswat? I mix him up. I think I mixed something up. Anyway, but it said Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, of course, he was not a sannyasi, but he was some or other in a higher tradition, had higher knowledge, so to say, of Vedanta. And he said, I want to teach you the highest understanding of Vedanta philosophy. I see in you some capacity, you're a great personality, but you have to get upgraded in your philosophy. Yeah. And Mahaprabhu very humbly agreed, okay, you are respectable, older personality, I agree. And it says 7 days Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was speaking to him, Vedanta philosophy. Right? And in the end, Mahaprabhu showed him this 6-handed form. What are you teaching me? What nonsense are you teaching me, Sarvabhauma? What do you think who you are? Yeah. But he said only after Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya recognized Mahaprabhu as Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because Mahaprabhu in this discussion, in the end, after 7 days when he started speaking, he spoke such an amazing knowledge that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had said, oh, you must be the Supreme Lord. Nobody can know that, what you know. And all centered around that, what Govinda mentioned today in the morning about the Atma Ram verse. It's very, very technical. But there's one verse in the first canto, Atma Ramas Chamunayo Nikranta Pi Urukrame, one verse, famous verse, describing Shukadev Goswami. And in the discussion, this verse comes up, because it's something about Mayavad, not Mayavad, all that. And Sarvabhauma says, please explain this verse to me. When you're so smart, go on, explain this verse to me. Show what you know. And Mahaprabhu says, I will do that, but first you explain the verse, okay? And then let's see if I can add something. And he says, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya explained the verse. I think it was in 8 or 9, maybe someone remembers, 8, 9 different ways. Yeah, like there are sometimes sentences, also in German or English, you have a sentence and it has more meanings. And imagine, okay, this is a very mundane example, but when Elon Musk was buying Twitter, maybe you remember, and then he was walking into the headquarters of Twitter, and he had a sink in his hands, like a sink, right, from the bathroom. And he walked in this room because he brought this in. And he said, let that sink in. Right? So he said, and these were the famous words when he took over Twitter, like, let that sink in. Right? So understand? Let the sink in, or let that sink in English means, understand it. Right? So this is already funny, right? 2 ways you can see it. But Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya 9 ways explained this verse. This is already, wow, you can see so many meanings in the verse. You're so smart. And you are smart. Like Elon Musk was quite smart to say that, but it's quite mundane. And then Mahaprabhu said, oh, no, not bad. And then Sarvabhauma said, okay, so anything to add? I explained already 9 ways. What do you want to add? And Mahaprabhu said, okay, maybe I can see it in this way, or in that way, or in that way, or in that way, or in that way, and that way. And in 64 ways he explained it. Then 64 ways he explained the verse, how you can see it. And the more Mahaprabhu explained, the more Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was amazed and puzzled and completely, amazed. And after that he said, you must be the Supreme Lord. This is not possible. How is that possible? And then Mahaprabhu showed his Shatbhuj form, 6-handed form of Mahaprabhu with Danda. He mystically let it reappear. I don't know, Danda coming back, right? And the Kamandalu. Kamandalu is said traditionally a sannyasi is carrying a water pot. When you're traveling a lot, right, you need water. Then 2 arms for Ramachandra with a bow and arrow, and 2 arms for Krishna with the flute. It's famous Shatbhuja form. Shat means 6, Bhuja means hands, 6-handed form. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was like, oh my God, super divine vision, And from that moment he was pure devotee, pure follower of Mahaprabhu. And I could tell a little bit more about this because it's so nice, but time is up. But there's just 2 points. It was so important that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya becomes a devotee because he was the main person in Puri, not the king. Because when he became a devotee and Mahaprabhu was put on the highest platform as the most supreme person, all Puri said, wow, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya says, Mahaprabhu, this person, this sannyasi, is Krishna himself. And the king also became a devotee. He wanted to become a devotee, and more or less the whole country becomes a devotee. Because when a great person does something, the common man follow. They also said, my God, and this is what Prataparudra Maharaj said to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, you are the most intelligent, the most learned person I know. When you say he is the Lord, I accept it. He cannot bewilder you. You must be right. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya wrote then a book. It's called Caitanya Shataka, 100 verses glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is still available. You can read this book. Yeah? 100 verses glorifying Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Lord. And this was Mahaprabhu's entrance into Jagannath Puri. And from there, so many things happened. So this was just a drop of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. You can read that all for yourself. All this is available in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavatam and all the books. Just read these pastimes with a clear mind, with faith, and also with imagination, in a spiritual imagination. The pastime has to become alive when you read that. You must be there. It shouldn't be just words or some explanation. You should enter the pastime by reading the pastime. Yeah. Yes. So, I wish you all that. Absorption into Gaur Lila. Now we have the Gora Arati, and then...
Remember, the first Go Punim was held by Narottam Das Thakur in Katha, and the devotees were dancing and chanting so extensively that the Panchatattva appeared. Let's go for it.
Yes. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ke, Srila Prabhupada ke, Nitai Gaur Brahmanande.